Hi, I'm Jennifer Manley from the Massachusetts Department of Public Health, and I'm here with Dr. Lauren Smith. She's the medical director for the department. She's also a pediatrician and the mother of 3 school-age children. She's here today to answer some questions around the H1N1 swine flu. Dr. Smith, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
First of all, we've all heard so much about this, but where does H1N1 come from?
Well, as with any influenza, we understand that they can come from different sources. The reason that this one is new is that it has parts of it that are from pigs or swine, hence the name swine flu, and also from birds and from humans. And it's been combined in a new or novel way. So that's why this one is different than what we've seen before.
So is this worse than regular flu, and what are the symptoms?
Well, initially we were afraid that it might end up being worse than regular flu.
Sounds scary.
But so far what we've seen is that essentially it's just like seasonal flu with the same symptoms one would expect from regular flu. Fever, muscle aches and pain, cough, runny nose, sore throat, all the things people expect from the flu.
So at this point, should people assume that H1N1 is in their community?
Yes, they really should. And because we've seen it in so many different communities and from so many different places, we really have to assume, all of us, that whether or not there's a confirmed case in your school or at your workplace, that it really is everywhere. And so we must essentially then take precautions to protect ourselves and to keep ourselves from getting sick.
So since it is everywhere, is it safe to go to work and is it safe to go to school?
Right. If we can think about this the way we do regular flu season, we wouldn't stop going to work or keep our kids home from school for the entire winter. So we really, now that we've been able to see that it's behaving more like seasonal flu, we should approach it like that. So we need to take care, wash our hands, avoid touching our nose and our face, cough into our sleeve, those sorts of things. But it's safe to go to work and school.
So since it is in most communities right now, what are the precautions people should be taking?
Well, because we know it's out there, really people should focus on keeping themselves from getting sick. And the way they can do that primarily is washing their hands. So washing their hands as frequently as possible.
Is it 20 seconds?
20 seconds, so that's the happy birthday song twice for kids. Adults can sing another song that they want for 20 seconds, but the idea is that they soap their hands with warm water and soap for the 20 seconds. If they don't have access to a sink or to water, they can use just a hand sanitizer.
And you always have that with you.
Yes, it's good to have that around, and you want to make sure that you have enough on there so it gets looking sort of wet and shiny everywhere, and get it especially between your fingers, and there you have it.
Okay.
So the main thing then is to wash your hands or to use a hand sanitizer, to try to keep from putting your hands in your nose or your mouth or your eyes, because the virus, if we were to get any on our hands, that's how we get it into our body, through our eyes, our nose, and our mouth. So trying to keep your hands away from your face really is a good idea.
Okay.
The other thing is to try to stay away from people who are sick or coughing or sneezing, because that's another way that we can get virus into our bodies. So people who have those symptoms really should stay home.
And that's sometimes hard to do if you have work to do or you have childcare and things like that, but that really is the message. Stay at home if you're not feeling well, and keep your kids home.
Absolutely.
Well.
And I, as a working mother, I totally understand how hard that is for parents if their child is sick, but that's really important, because that way other people won't be exposed to the illness.
Okay. So this is known now as the H1N1 flu, but originally it was being called the swine flu, and that's kind of scary for people. Is it okay to eat pork products?
Absolutely, and that was one of the reasons that they adjusted the name, because they wanted to make sure that people understood that. You cannot get this influenza virus from eating properly cooked pork. You really get it from other people at this point. So it's safe to eat pork. Of course, it's always good to make sure that pork is properly cooked for other reasons, but there's no worry about getting this flu from that.
Okay. What should people do who think they have symptoms of this flu?
Well, I think at this point, people should really think about it like regular seasonal flu. So if they have mild symptoms, fever, aches and pains, they can take care of themselves with rest, extra fluids. They can take Tylenol or things for the aches and pains and the fever. If they have difficulty breathing or or they have underlying other medical conditions, it would be reasonable for them to call their doctor to find out if they need to do anything different. There are certain medications called antivirals that are available to treat individuals with the flu, and this flu virus is susceptible or is treated by those kinds of medications, but not everyone needs them. So it really makes sense for people to call their doctor to find out if they need to be treated.
Okay. And you mentioned the antivirals, but is there a vaccine for this flu?
No, for this flu there is no vaccine, which makes it all the more important for people to follow those precautions we just talked about in terms of hand washing, coughing into your sleeve, trying not to cough on your hands, because we don't have a vaccine to prevent it.
Okay. I know we went over this, but I don't think we can stress it enough. What should people with the new H1N1 flu do? Well,
the main thing they should do is assume that it's out there, but not to be frightened or scared about it, because it's essentially acting like seasonal flu. They should take the precautions of focusing on cough etiquette, we call it, so that they don't spread any germs or that they might have, coughing into their sleeve, coughing into a tissue, not their hand, and then washing their hands quite frequently, and especially before they eat. The other thing they can do is to stay home from work or keep their kids home from school if any of them have symptoms, and that's important.
But if they actually have it, if they've confirmed and they have an H1N1 case?
If they've been diagnosed, what they should do is follow any directions that their physician gives them. But the main things they should do would be to drink plenty of fluids, get plenty of rest, and they really should take it easy and be at home so that they're not exposing other people to the virus during the period that they're recuperating, which may take 7 days. And in fact, people can shed the virus for about 7 days. So that's why we recommend that people who've been diagnosed with it stay home for that period of time.
So most of the cases we've been seeing in the United States so far have been mild. So it really is what we've always learned about the flu.
Right, but I think we also have to recognize that even regular flu can sometimes have complications. So if you have an underlying medical condition or are otherwise at risk for having complications, such as being very young or over age 65, for example, there are certain populations of folks who really should talk to their doctor about it. But for the most part, it's relatively mild. But every year with regular flu, we have people who sometimes have more serious illness. But usually it's relatively mild.
Okay. So if someone in my household is sick, do I need to stay at home?
No, you don't need to stay at home if someone in your household is sick. You can go out and do your regular activities. But I think I would be extra cautious if I were to come down with any of the symptoms, so that then I could start to stay home and really take care of myself.
So Dr. Smith, there is a lot of information out there, but where can people go if they want the most accurate, up-to-date information?
And you're quite right. People really should get the most accurate information. And at the Massachusetts Department of Public Health website, which people can get to at www.mass.gov/DPH, we have a host of information that people might find helpful. We have flu fact sheets in more than a dozen languages. We have information for families on how to take care of sick family members, even information for parents and how to talk to their children about this outbreak.
Important.
Absolutely. So there's a lot of information there, and people can access it at any time of the day or night. Also, for general information about this influenza outbreak, people can go to our helpline at 211, and that's available across the Commonwealth, and again is available 24 hours a day.
So what we're seeing so far is H1N1 is acting similar to seasonal flu, but we do want to stress that any influenza virus can be serious. So we always want to heed Dr. Smith's precautions. Thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.